Hi, so my name's Dave Edwards. I'm the club's Equality and Diversity Officer. I've held many roles within the committee for this club, but this one's really quite close to my heart on quite a few of the subjects. So really looking forward to kind of getting started with this role in particular. What I want to talk about today is it's Dyslexia Awareness Week, which is something that's really close to myself with being dyslexic myself. So certainly understand how a lot of our players, I guess, kind of like feel in training sessions, in matches as well. So I've got with me Donna, who is the coach for the under-16 Hawks girls team. So she's got 23 years kind of like experience working with children and parents, and has been kind of like a Senko for over 10 years. So you certainly understands dyslexia, and certainly having a husband and a daughter who also has dyslexia. So I just wanted to ask a few questions to Donna, basically just to talk about it and how she perhaps adapts some of her sessions in training to help with the dyslexia. So first of all, Donna, hello.
Hi.
What is dyslexia?
So dyslexia is, the best way to describe it, I find, is it's to do with how people process information. So we all process information as humans, but people with dyslexic brain would process it slightly differently. I think I like to give an analogy of like how to understand it, and we all think we've got to go to the same destination. If we're all going to the training ground, a typically developing brain would probably use a sat-nav to go the most direct route and the shortest way, so they get there quicker.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody with a dyslexic brain would be trying to travel there without a map, and they're making it up as they go along, so they will take different paths. It might take them longer. Ultimately, we all get to the same destination, but we all use different routes to get there.
Yeah.
And that's the way dyslexic brains process the information that's given.
Okay.
So typically, somebody with dyslexia would take longer to process that information. They might need more information repeating to them so that they know where they're going.
Yeah.
And that would make things like concentration quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think there's kind of a lot of myths out there with dyslexia, certainly from our generation there would have been, is that people believe it's due to intelligence, and it's absolutely nothing to do with intelligence whatsoever. It is simply the way they process information is different. It can also affect things like reading, but that's not really as relevant when it comes to football.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to football and the football training in the sessions, we very rarely have anything to read. So it's about processing the information that is given to us verbally and information that we can see.
Okay, brilliant. So how do you adapt your sessions? Because I think that certainly in your team, then you certainly got a few kind of players who have dyslexia or dyslexia traits. So how would you adapt any of your sessions to like help with those girls?
Yeah, so we do have a number of children that do have dyslexia or dyslexic traits, and the biggest bit for us is to not give them too much information at once.
Yeah.
Make it small amounts of information and check that they've understood that before moving on. And that's not necessarily just for dyslexic children, that's for all children, but more importantly for dyslexic children. There's very little written down in terms of our sessions. Most of it is verbal. So to have anything verbal with a demonstration is really going to help.
Yeah.
Obviously the demonstration is then at the capacity of the coach to be able to demonstrate those skills. So one thing we've tried to do for our girls is to send them a video, send them a link to a YouTube or a training drill, so they can see it, they can watch it over and over, they're hearing it, they've got a visual, and then when it comes to demonstration, that in a session, they've already seen it a number of times before.
So they can look at it before the session, so they can take their own time to kind of process what you're going to be doing in that drills.
And they can watch it over and over without having to say, I don't get it.
Brilliant. So as a coach then, if you're not too perhaps aware of somebody who could have dyslexia, what sort of signs could a player show that you could be then thinking, I might need to adapt something different to this player or this set of players? So is there any particular signs that that could be out there to help coaches?
Yeah, I think one of the key signs is concentration. A child with dyslexia is more easily distracted.
Yeah.
They're often the chatty ones. They're often labelled as the disruptive ones. And that's not the case. That's just the way they're processing information. If they're only hearing verbal information, they will need to say it out loud or repeat it or be practicing it while that information's being said in order to remember and process that information.
So they could be perhaps like, if you give them an instruction, then they might be asking somebody else just for kind of clarification around it, or for somebody to perhaps show them how to do it before they can't go and do it themselves.
Or they'll be fidgeting. So if you're talking about doing drag backs, they might be acting out those drag backs as you're talking to them.
Yeah.
And it can be seen as being disruptive when actually it's their way of processing that information.
Okay.
I do think coaches need to be careful as well, though, there, that none of us, to my knowledge, are qualified to assess dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So the children might be presenting with dyslexic traits. It doesn't necessarily mean they are dyslexic.
Yeah.
So we can't be giving them that label.
Yes.
We must just understand that it may be, and actually to coach every session in a dyslexic friendly way is not going to hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it inclusive for all.
So have you got like a top tip for all our coaches at the club on in things that they can perhaps do in their sessions? And like you said, they might not have anybody that's dyslexic, but actually running a session for dyslexic friendly brains could benefit everybody. So have you got like a top tip to all the other coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. So keep it visual.
Yeah.
Keep the information short. Short, snappy bits of information with times to practice being active in between is the best way forward for all children, but especially dyslexic children. Dyslexic children are very unlikely to take on multiple sets of instructions.
Yeah.
So give them an instruction, then build on it, but only build on it once that information's been learned. And that's especially important on game day.
Yeah.
On game day, there is so much information that is just verbal, being shouted at, being seen, given from parents, and everybody's trying to help. Nobody's trying to do that in a negative way. But it's understanding that can be really overwhelming for all children. But if you've got a dyslexic brain, you will only remember the last thing you hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, I only want to keep it kind of short and sweet for now. Like I said, my role now in this committee, I'm going to be running lots of things like this, or lots of different areas to kind of talk about and discuss. So if any of the other coaches out there kind of like feel passionately about any of these sort of areas, absolutely, please get in touch with me. Or if any parents or players again feel quite strongly about any of the areas, then please do get in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you about anything. So Dyslexia Awareness Week this week. Please let's try and adapt to all the kind of the players and parents and even coaches that we've got to help everybody. Thank you.